Okay, what I want to do here is give you a quick preview of the entire project, the research, the sourcing, the works cited sheet, and the finished presentation that you're going to be doing this semester, both these terms. To find that information, you need to go to the class website. Now, I don't want you to do it right now. I'm going to do it from this screen, and then when we're done, if you want to go back and go through this, you can. This is just a review. So the conflict information is in the current unit. If you'll click on the picture of the two men fighting, it's going to take it to our unit, take us to this unit. We've already reviewed the objectives of this unit, but because this is a quick review, I'm going to ask Kennedy if she'll read for us the objective and the essential questions.
Students will investigate the similarities found in causes, course, and consequences of conflict.
Okay, continue on if you will, please.
They will be able to recognize these three themes through a study of three distinct eras in American history. Era 1, Rise of the Nation, Colonial Era through the Revolutionary War, 1757 to 1783. Era 1 includes specialty areas 1 through 12.
Okay, before you continue, will you raise your hand if you're doing a presentation in Era 1? Okay, those of you who have your hands up, that means you're going to be doing your presentations before, like, within the next month, you're going to start your presentation. Okay, put your hands down. Era 2, can you continue on, please, Kennedy?
Era 2, Building of the Nation, Constitution through the Mexican-American War, 1783 to 1848. Era 2 includes specialty areas 13 through 23.
Okay, again, raise your hand if you're in Era 2. Okay, so for you guys, you're going to be doing your presentations typically around April. But you'll see that on the calendar when we go through that in just a moment. And Kennedy, will you read Era 3?
Area 3, Uniting the Nation, Expansion through
Reconstruction.
1847 through 1877. Era 3 includes specialty areas 24 through 32.
Okay, thank you, Kennedy. Who are you guys? Okay, so you're going to be presenting in May. That gives you an idea of just a basic idea on what your presentations are at. Now, yes?
On the calendar, it says that my presentation is April 22nd.
Okay, and that's when it is.
Oh, okay.
So whenever it is on that calendar is when you're presenting.
Oh.
And that calendar will not change. We're building in a field trip, this unit. It'll be on the west. We've actually put together all of the logistics, and I'm very excited about it. I'm waiting to give you all the specifics until we've got everything approved through the bus garage. And so everything has to stay right on the calendar, including that field trip, because if we change it, everything goes off, and we won't be able to do that. Okay, now we're going to read together. Abby, you've got that mic. Just keep it. Will you please read for us the assignment?
Over the course of the conflict unit, students will complete 2 phases. Phase 1, research, 404 points. Phase 2, creating and sharing a historical presentation, 200 points. An overview of each phase is given below. Detailed examples, explanation, and contracts are provided via links with each overview.
Thank you, Abby. And then we're going to go through phase 1. Now, we've gone through this. This is a quick overview. I am going to take time to go through each of the links and ensure that you've completed what you should have done at this point. Abby, can you pass that mic to a neighbor, and would you please read phase 1? Who is that that's reading?
Step 1A. Choose a specialty area from the table of contents. Write the due date from phase 1 of the assignment in the box provided in your workbooks or on guidelines and rubrics page 1. Students will work individually on all 3 phases of the assignment. Once you have chosen a specialty area, you will not be allowed to change. Please choose wisely. Write your specialty area or question and due date in the box on page 1. You can access the due dates in the ACAD class calendar. Specialty area's primary questions are located in the highlighted portion on the top of the page where your specialty area is located in the conflict specialty area. Questions and learning activities portion of the conflict workbook.
Okay, so nutshell. First of all, last time you selected a specialty area. By raise of hands, is there anyone who does not know their specialty area? Okay, Olivia, you were gone. And Grace, I believe Brenna chose one for you and said we're going to want to work together on that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So Olivia, you're going to need to stay with me so we can make sure you get set up. Now, the rest of you, do you all know your specialty area? Okay, we're good with that. We also looked at the ACAD class calendar so you could see when you were doing your presentation. A link to that calendar is right here. and it tells you the day that you are required to do your presentation. It also gives you all due dates for upcoming assignments. So you can see right here, this is where we have our honor roll activity. This is research day 1. Now, not necessarily today, but before next class period, you need to complete from 1 to 5 pages of notes to be on track. So how many of you already have 1 or 2 pages of notes? Excellent. That's why these two have their computers out. They came in during pride time and started their note taking. That's what you should all be doing at this point. If you're piddling around in the lunchroom with friends, you're going to be doing homework. If you do it, use in-class time and pride time, you will have no problem keeping up. But those of you who are not coming in during pride time, the rest of this is going to fall in as homework, which is fine. If you'd rather go on pride time, if you'd rather use that time to take a break from school, that's fine with me. Just make sure that you're making up for that as homework. Nod your head if you're clear on that. Okay, so these are the due dates for everything. I want to go into when we start doing presentations. Our first presentation is Specialty Area 1. And if memory serves me correct, that's Lucy. Is that right, Lucy? Are you Specialty Area 1? Okay, so Lucy, who's already ahead of things because she's been really using her time wisely, will be doing her presentation on, what is that day? Tuesday the 1st. Now, Lucy, I'll write your name in there. So we put it on the main page, but I'll put your names in here as well so we can see each day that you're teaching. That calendar is fixed. You'll need to check the calendar to see which day you're doing your presentation. We did that last time, so we should be clear on that. Okay, let me go back here. The other thing that this page goes over is where you can find your specialty area. Now, you'll find your specialty area and a clear list of what that includes on the link that I just hit. It brings over here a list of all the different specialty areas. So 1 through 12. Then there's a section that I'm teaching. It starts over again with 18 through 23. And then it moves down to the bottom of the page, 24 through 32. Depending on the specialty area that you selected, you'll click on that here. This is Michaela's, who also came in the other day. I was proud of Michaela as well. She came in. And this tells you right here her main focus question that she'll be dealing with. So it's the key individuals of the Civil War. She's going to address what were the contributions of key individuals in the Civil War, how did the election of 1860 lead to secession and impact the Emancipation Proclamation on the United States and Confederacy. But then the questions she's going to focus on during her research are listed right here. This will lead us to our research notebook. So let's go back here. So this is where you find each of the specialty areas, and that is linked right here. Okay, so now let's continue on to step 1B of phase 1. Who's got the mic? Bethany, can you pass that to someone else? And since I'm only seeing the back of your heads, can you tell me who's reading? Brooklyn, can you turn the mic on? Okay, Brooklyn, would you please step 1B?
Create a research notebook following the templates provided in your Google Drive. Example templates and instructions for a research notebook are available in PDF format from this link. Write your essential questions available on the same pages of the conflict specialty area questions and learning activities portion of the workbook where your specialty area is located. See page 3 in the workbook for an example. When finished, share your research notebook in Google Drive to the instructor for a grade on step 1B of your notebook.
I should change that preposition to with. In any case, here is a template, an example of what you are doing. However, where you've all received this is in your Google Docs. So last time we met, we went into each of your Google Docs, or your Google Drive, and this was shared with you in the Google Drive that I have on file for you. And in your drive, you were to take the instructions I provided you, research project, and create a research notebook. Now, if you'll look up at the board right there, it shows those of you from whom I have already received a research notebook. So, Jessa, you're in good shape. Trey, Jessica, Lucy. Lucy has both her research notebook and source and citation sheet. Haley, Nick, Jake, Hannah, Michaela, Leslie, and Leslie has both her research sheet and research notebook. That's why, or her source sheet. That's why she's on the computer right now. Kylie, Ashley, Brooklyn, Abby, Audrey, Hayden, Ellie. Okay, whoever this is, who's specialty area 9? Okay, you need to rename that. Now, part of the instructions when you went in there said put down essay, your number, research notebook, a colon, and your name. So who was it that just said that was? Okay, so Cameron, you need to rename that. Put a colon and then put Cameron. Okay. Kennedy, I have yours. Bethany, I have yours. Caden, I have yours. Grace, I have. Well, actually, Grace, we made this as a sample. Okay. So you're going to need to make your own. I'm going to delete that one. Lauren, we have yours. Little Diet Coke to color the floor. And that's what I've got so far. Is there anybody whose name is not up there? That means I have not received yours yet. So let me go over the instructions for doing that really quickly. So the instructions were sent to you in your Google Docs. So you'll go into your Google Docs and you're going to create a research notebook. So to create it, you go right here, create document. And when you create it, you're going to follow the instructions that I've shared with you. Those instructions are these ones right here. Within that Google Doc, you are going to entitle it Essay, and then put whatever your number is, Research Notebook, and then your name. So if I were creating one right here for Olivia, I'm going to come up here and go File, Rename, and I'm going to do SA, and let's assume that you have 5. You don't, but let's put that there. Research Notebook, colon, and then your name. Say okay, you've now got it saved. And then you have to share it with me. If you don't share it with me, I don't have access to it. I can't grade it. I'll also be going through these and making notations and giving you feedback as you're taking notes over the next 3 weeks. So you're going to go up to Share. Click on Share and put in here my email address. Now that's over here on this list. If you get lost at any point, it tells you how to do this. But to share it, you're going to put in my email address, which is cness@alpinedistrict.org. Whoopsie daisy. Now you can give me permission to edit, and I would suggest you do that, because if you do that and I find information that will help you, I will put it into your notes. If I need to change the name, I can change the name. I can fix things for you. I can also give you feedback. Right in your research notebook, I can say, remember, you need to put this here. So then you're going to share it with me. I would put it under can edit, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You can say can comment or view. Once you have that, you're going to send it, and it's going to come to me, and I will be able to see it as well. Okay? So that's how you're going to create your research notebook, or how you're going to share it or save it. Now, to make your research notebook, come back to the instructions here. It gives you that information. You need to put the title of your specialty area on the top of each page. There's an example right here. And then you need to take from your specialty area, you need to take each of the essential questions and put them at the top of each page. So here's Lucy's. She's going to take this question 1A right there and put it at the top of the page. So she would write, what is the Native American perspective on the causes of the French and Indian War? Now Lucy's actually created hers already and started working on it. So I'm going to come over here. Lucy, if you don't mind, I'm going to share what you've got so far just so we can see an example of a notebook that's been put together properly. You'll notice the title, Specialty Area Research Notebook, Lucy Pratt. She's already done that. She's put at the top of the page, conflict in the colonies prior to the Revolutionary War. That needs to be on every one of her pages. Then on this first page, she's put her first question. What were the causes of the French and Indian War? She's now started her research. So as she's been researching, she's been putting notes in her research notebook, and at the end of it, she's telling me where that came from. That's what you're doing in here. Now that's page 1. Wow, Lucy, look at that. She's got a lot already answering that first question. Page 2, a different question. What were the causes of the French and Indian War? She's breaking that down, and she's putting information in here. Now, Lucy, make sure that at the end of each place, you tell me where you got that from. And it might actually be on the very bottom. Good. So here she's telling me where she got that from, and we'll go over that in just a moment. Can we pass the mic, first of all, over to Grace and then over to Abby?
So, just to clarify, we have to have 20 of these pages?
When you are done, you will need to have 20 completed pages of notes. Now, some of you may have 25 pages of notes, and on page 1, you only have a quarter pages of notes, and page 2, you only have a quarter, and on page 3, you actually have a page and a half answering those questions, and on page 5, you have a quarter. So we can mix and mash, so at the end, you have 20 completed pages of notes. But what that's going to, you may not have a full page answering one question. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Abby? Pass that mic over, if you will, to Abby.
So, when I was making my research notebook, you told me to have 2 pages per question, like put the question at the top
Yes.
of 2 pages. Is that right? So you have 2 pages of the same question?
Yes. Now, you can use kind of just some reason here. Like one of your questions might say, where were they from? Well, typically that's going to be like a one-sentence answer. You know, they were born here. So you don't need 2 pages. But you may have other questions that say, what childhood experiences did they have that shaped their character? Well, for that question, you may actually have 5, 6, 7 pages of notes. So kind of use some reason. Do you see what I'm saying? But you're going to need to have at least 1 page for each question. And some of those questions you'll have multiple. And of course, we're doing this digitally so we can change it as we go along. If you realize, oh, I need even another page of that, just move down another page and make another page. Okay, and then when you pass the mic back over here, we have a question here as well.
Okay, wait, is this
No.
okay, so like if I'm sharing the assignment or special area with Kaden, would I only do half the questions that I was doing, or would I do all of them?
You're going to research all of your specialty area. Now, on the teaching portion, you're going to, between you and Kaden, determine who's teaching what. And I know Kaden's already started working on that, so talk to him about that. But you're going to decide who's teaching what, but you're going to research the big picture and then teach just a segment of it. That make sense? Okay, and then we've got a mic over here. If you pass the mic over there, please.
So even if we're going to be dividing the teaching like that in groups of 2, should we still like share the notes with each other so we can bounce ideas?
Well, you are responsible for collecting your own notes, but if you want to share with each other, that's a great way to gather more information. Say, hey, here's something I found that might help you. That's great. I have no problem at all with that. That's not cheating. That's being a good teacher of each other. Is that Gabe I see there? Okay, Gabe.
So if you are like in a group and both of you are doing the same special area, do you do the same project or do you each have your?
That's entirely up to you. Now remember, on the day you're teaching, you have 35 to 40 minutes to teach. If you decide to say, let's make 1 game together and 1 presentation together, and we're going to take the entire period of 75 to 80 minutes, that's okay with me. But if you're doing that, the quality of your presentation, like the length, will be double what somebody would do if they were doing it individually. Does that make sense? Now, if you're doing that, you make sure you trust the person you're working with. There's only 5 of you who have a partner in here. Putting your grade, and this is a critical grade as you're going into high school next year, and you don't just get into the honors history. You have to pass through a series of teacher evaluations on that. So putting your grade in a partner's hand, kind of iffy. So if you're doing that, make sure you trust your partner, because that's not required. That's just a choice you have on that one.
So if we're doing it individually, we can just do the same as everybody else and then just.
Yeah, exactly. Except for the only difference is if you're doing it individually, you make sure that the person who's teaching that same content area, like if you have 8 essential questions, you're teaching 4 and they're teaching 4.
Okay.
And work with each other to make sure which one you're teaching.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, are we good there? Okay, let's go back then to our instructions. That's how we make a research notebook. Lucy, thank you for letting me share yours with the class. And you can see when you're sharing them back with me, that's why. I want to be able to see what you're doing. Okay, now let's come back over to the instructions for this. Where was that? And I need a reader, please, to read for us. Step 1C. So who's got, thank you. If you'll just pass that mic up. Haley, if you read for us 1C.
Select Term 3 novel related to your specialty area. A list of specialty area novels is available in the Conflict Specialty Area Questions and Learning Activities portion of the Conflict Workbook that corresponds to your specialty area and chosen era. During the course of your research, complete the Specialty Area Historical Novel Packet found in the Specialty Area Historical Novel Term 3 portion of the Conflict Workbook. A digital copy is available following this web link.
Okay, so let me tell you quickly when that is due. To do that, I'm going to go to the calendar again. Your finished novel for everyone, regardless of the day you're teaching, is due. And I noticed Trey the other day putting this in his calendar. I thought that was pretty impressive. He pulled out his planner and put that in there. Okay, where are you? Can you see the novel on there? Oh, there we go. It's due on the 18th of May. Now, when I say it's due, what you're turning in is nope, wrong one. Sorry. A leaflet or a booklet based on your novel. You're going to create it using this process. The instructions are right here, step by step. And there's a video linked right here showing you how to make it. And on each page of the book, this is the information you include. Now, as the time approaches, we'll spend a little bit more time on this. At this point, what you ought to be doing is reading your novel and selecting your novel. So how you're going to select your novel is back here on this main page where you had your specialty area. So Lucy, you were number 1. We'll go to Lucy's again since we've been picking on her today. By the way, here's example presentations that other students, if any of you know Spencer Loudy, he's a 9th grader right now. This is his presentation that he taught on this subject. So you can see sample presentations that students completed here. So here's his presentation he made to teach his subject. You can go back in, I don't want to do that right now, but so you can see other students' presentations from former years. Those are linked online. Yours you make this year will be put on here. So after your presentation, we're going to put your work up here for other people to see as well. But to get your novel, here is a suggested novel list specific to her specialty area. So books that deal with French and Indian War, Calico Captive, The Standing in Light, The Captive Diary of Catherine Carey Logan, Look to the Hills, Diary of Lisette Moreau, a French slave girl, and The Last of the Mohicans, this classical novel for Lucy. I'd really highly recommend that one. So these are books that go with her subject. That's where she got her novel. Okay, now let's come back here. So that's how we complete the novel portion, step 1C. Step 1D, I need a reader, please. Okay, would you pass it back here? Okay, can you read?
Compile your notes in your research notebook located in your Google Drive. Introduce yourself to your chosen specialty area by reading the page numbers in your text that corresponds to your subject. The page numbers are available on the web page associated with your subject and in the selected box following your topic on the page of the conflict specialty area. Questions and learning activities portion of the conflict workbook where your specialty area essential questions are located. Research your specialty area in the library, textbooks, movies, and on the internet. While researching, answer your essential questions and compile your notes in your research notebook. Be sure to cite your sources. References. Reference the grading rubric on page 5 of the conflict guidelines and rubric portion of the workbook to evaluate your research notebook.
Okay, so the next part is you're going to start your research. Now today, that research will probably entail just reading the information in your textbook, starting there. So I'm going to show you where you find that. But it's not the only place where you're going to research. In addition to researching from the textbook, starting next class period, you're not coming in here, you're going to go directly to the library. And Mr. Moon will have all of the books associated with your subjects in stacks set aside. So all the Era 1 books will be in a stack, all the Era 2 books will be in a stack, all the Era 3 books will be in a stack. So you'll have the library textbooks, you'll have the computers in front of you and do notes from the internet. You will have movies that are available both in a DVD copy, which I have a file full of DVDs. I have over 150 DVDs available to you. You'll have movies, and you'll also, as I said before, have the textbook. So let me show you using Lucy's where you would find the page numbers in the textbooks dealing specifically with your subject. So for her subject, she's going to go to the American History book textbook, page 69 through 86, 98 through 109, 183 through 188, and then Call of Freedom. There are different pages. Those all deal with her big subject. In addition to that, I've put other links to help her in her research. I've put a web page here on French and Indian War, so she can come over here, and I've got information specific on the French and Indian War she can research from. These are lectures that I have done in the past that she can go to. She can look at the presentations that were presented by other students. She can look at Spencer's work and see what they did, or Jade. This is Jade Irwin. Some of you know her little sisters. And Jade she's now a sophomore at Lehigh High School, but that's her presentation. So Lucy could look at former presentations that had been given for her research. I've gone in, and for every specialty area, I've looked up websites that would be helpful to you. Now, of course, you don't have to go to just these ones, but this is the U.S. Department of State, and they've got information on the French and Indian War that may be of help to her. So those are internet links that are available right here on the website to help you in your research. We'll have all the books that are in the library. And there are, for her specialty area, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies online, as well as the DVDs that I will have. Now, these movies are embedded in the website. I hope to, in the next 2 days, actually put them in a YouTube format as well, because they work better on YouTube at home, and you'll see them side by side. They'll be the same movie. One side will be the embedded in the website, which you see here. Another will be the YouTube. So those are some of the sources you can use, but you're not confined to that. You're welcome to look outside of this, go to the library. You can do lectures and interviews, and you're going to be researching from those sources. Okay, where's the mic at?
Here.
Can I pass it on over here, and then we'll get these 3 questions.
Sorry. Oh yeah. If we find like an online book, but it was originally a book, it's just online, what should we put for it?
Like, are you putting it as a text or an online source?
Like
Collect the information you would as if it were a novel in the resource or in the source sheet, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But then you're going to give me the HTML for where you found it. That's totally fine. Okay, pass that mic if you will, please. Okay.
So if we are working on one of the projects with someone else, and since we're only teaching half of the questions, can our research be a little more focused on those?
Yes, make sure you answer them all, but you may have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages of notes just on one question in your focus area, and you have half on the ones that you know. That's great. That's a smart way to do that. Okay, pass the mic. Sean?
Is any of the research like going to be due on a specific date?
All of the research notebooks are due. Now we can go to the calendar again to find that. So all of the research notebooks are due. Let's click through here. I'm looking for due dates, so give me just a minute. Are due on the 9th of February. All of them, regardless of your specialty area. So Lucy's teaching first, but her research notebook's due on the same day as the person who's teaching the last day of class. So all your research notebooks, not necessarily your presentation. Those are 2 different things. See the difference there, Sean? So your research notebooks, the research should be done on the same day. Now you can actually buy yourself 2 extra days so that you turn it in on the 12th instead of the 9th with late passes. So if you've earned a late pass, you can turn it in on the 10th instead of the 9th. Or if you've earned 2 late passes, you can turn it in on the 11th instead of the 9th, and you can turn it in on the 12th. So you can buy yourself 2 additional days, 10th or 12th, depending on late passes if you'd like. But after the 12th, that's a closed assignment. I'm not going to grade it until the 12th. But they're due on the 9th, which is not a class period. Doesn't really matter because I can see them all online anyway. I will be sending periodic text messages just to remind you. This is how many you should have. Don't forget the due date. Okay, pass the mic, please.
Okay, so Tuesday morning, do we come here at all?
No, you're going to go directly to the library. And you will do that for the next 5 class periods. You'll go directly to the library.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, have we answered all those questions? Okay, so we were looking just now at how we take notes. Now, I've showed you note sources, but I want to make sure you're clear on how you take those notes themselves. So that's where we were at right here. Now, it doesn't say that here, but it says it in here. I want to make sure you're clear on this piece here. Lucy, I'm going to go back to yours. When you're taking your notes, make sure that at the end of each section of notes, so Lucy took these notes from this place here. She's given me the website. Now, that's not doing a source-cited sheet. It's just saying where it came from. She put in the entire website because that was easier for her just to copy and paste that. If you copy and paste, I need you to be really clear on this, only 10% of your notes can be direct quotes. And I will actually be running this through a plagiarism website that will tell me if you've just copied and pasted. The majority of what you're going to do will be paraphrasing. So Lucy has gone to this website, and she's taken all of that and paraphrased it down into 2 paragraphs. She's put it in her own words. If she had copied and pasted it, it would have to have quote marks around it. But when we are all done, only 10% of your notes can be copied and pasted. The rest have to be in your own words. Does that make sense? We're trying to avoid plagiarism here. It is the thing that destroys people in college. You plagiarize in college, you will be. So get in the habit of paraphrasing, reading it, putting it in your own words, but you have to source. Where did I get that information? Make sure you put it at the end of it. Now, she did here a full source. However, on this long quote she has here, you'll notice she just put, this was in CTF page 128 and 129, and also from FIW Hillstrom. Now, we're going to explain later how she knows what that is. But she's done quick, abbreviated, where did this come from at the end of each source that she's put in there. Grace, can we pass the mic over to Grace, please?
So is it okay if we just cite with just the website, or do we need to have like a full citation?
For right now, you just put the website. I'll show you we're going to do a full citation. Okay? Okay, now let's go back then to, so we've showed you how to take notes. Close that. We've got a whole bunch of stuff open here. We showed you how to take notes and keep those in your Google Doc. Let's talk about our source and citation sheet. So Grace, since you have the mic, would you please read for us step 1E?
Cite your sources in your sources and citation sheet shared with your Google Doc. A hard copy of source and citation sheet is available here. You must complete and share with your instructor a digital copy of your source sheet in your Google Docs. You're required to utilize and cite a minimum of 15 sources. No more than half may be internet site.
That means half need to be movies, texts, lectures, interviews, other sources. Yes, question. Pass that mic if you will, please.
Do you want me to do this? So, for internet sites, does that just mean like websites, or does that include movies you find there? Text?
No, that includes websites. That's a really good question. If you're finding something on YouTube, that's going to be a film. Okay. If you're finding, Jess mentioned earlier, finding a novel that is online, that's a text or a novel. That's an excellent question. Trey, can you pass that over to Trey?
So we can only have half our notes be from the internet.
Yes.
Okay.
So I want you to, I love the internet. There's nothing wrong with the internet, but I don't want you to be confined to the internet. So I'm asking you to look outside of that box of where we traditionally go for research anymore. That's why we're researching in the library. And Mr. Moon has this list of specialty areas. I worked with Mr. Moon from the State Corps for the last 15 years. He's built the largest library in the district of texts related to your specialty areas. There are thousands of books in there specific to this research area, to all of these research areas. So I want you to use those books because there's other information you can get there than you can get. The internet sometimes tends to be a little brief, simplified. There's great stuff there. But I want you to go to the text as well. And movies are a great source. Historians should be looking at documentaries and movies. They're very good as well. Lectures, interviews, and there are a lot of online lectures I have for you on the website as well. So I found professors from Harvard, from UC Berkeley, who are doing lectures on your content subject, and those lectures are placed online so that when you're doing this research, you can leave this classroom and go to Harvard for a little bit and research at Harvard. Because some of you, I hope, are shooting for Harvard. So this is showing you what you might get in that kind of classroom setting. Okay, so source and citation sheet. There's a link here of a hard copy. It shows you what your source and citation sheet should look like. I have sent this to you already in your Google Docs. It's going to take a minute for that to open up. But when you go into your Google Docs, you have this document right in there. What it tells you at the beginning is, do not type on this copy. In fact, it doesn't even let you type on that copy. You need to start by copying and changing the name, renaming it. You'll rename it to SA, whatever yours is, source sheet, and your name. Now, Lucy and Leslie have already done one of these. And then as you're doing your research, you're going to compile your sources in your source sheet. So I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to show you a source and citation sheet. Because these two came in yesterday and did this during Pride Time. This is Lucy's. She's titled it SA1 Source and Citation, Lucy Pratt. She copied it from the one I sent her. She renamed it, and she shared it back with me, just like we did with our Google Docs research notebook. And what you're doing is, as you take notes, you are compiling that information, your sources, right here. So I put the first two in here for her. These are her textbooks. This is the information you're going to need to do an APA, an MLA, and a can't remember the other format. There's so many different formats. We're going to do ours in APA. These are books she's already collected. So she's been to the library already and picked up a book on the French Indian War. That's the title. Here's the author. Here's the date. Here's the number of pages in the book, not the specific page she got her research from, but the number of pages in the book. Here's the publisher. Here's where it's published. That's all found in the title page of the book. This is stuff you should know from English. She's putting that data here. Now, where does that connect? Well, she's written it here, but back in her research notes, let's see if this is her research. There you go. This is FIW Hillstrom. That's an abbreviation right there of this book right there. So she didn't have to put all of that at the end of the notes because she's got that information here. So you have to create your source and citation sheet, and you're going to keep track of all your sources there. The first two sources that I have available for you are the easiest. Those are the two textbooks. I've already put those in there. But if you take notes from the textbook, you need to say the specific page number, because this is how many pages are in the book. But over here in your notes, you need to see the specific page number you got that information from, and that's what she's done right there. Very impressive, Lucy. And she just did this by coming in during Pride Time yesterday and reading the instructions I provided online. Cameron, is that a question? No? Okay. So that is the next phase in your research. So we have covered all of phase 1. Now I want to quickly go over phase 2. This is a little simpler. So let's just read step 2A. Can I have a reader on phase 2 read step 2A? Where's my mic at right now? Okay, would you read it and then let's pass it on over here? We've got some folks who are willing to read for us.
Step 2A. Choose a presentation format from the presentation list provided in this link and in the conflict guidelines and rubrics portion of the workbook on page 12 through 28. Identify the format you have chosen for your project. Visit the class calendar and identify, what does that say?
It's not well written. And identify both, take out the and, there shouldn't be that.
Identify both the due date and presentation date for your project in the box provided on page 28 of the conflict guidelines and rubrics portion of the workbook. When finished, be sure to complete and submit the phase 2 guidelines form available from the link below.
Okay, great, thank you. So one more time, let me show you the presentation list. Here's your presentation list. You'll select one of these presentations. Most of you have done this already. And the way you'll know how it's going to be graded is if you click on it, it gives you a specific rubric telling you how we will grade those presentations. I asked you last class period to select 2. You'll only be doing 1, but to select 2 and to choose the presentation format that you would like to teach with. Okay, I need another reader, please, to read for us. Oh, are those questions or readers? Okay, let's just move it on up. So let's start making and then move it up when you're done. Will you please read for us step 2B? Hold the question until we're done with all this, and then we'll go to your question. So don't forget it, okay, Audrey? Okay, Megan. What? 2B, please. Or not, sorry.
Review the rubric grading standards associated with your chosen presentation format. Rubrics are available in the conflict guidelines and rubrics portion of the workbook on pages 12 through 28. Digital copies of the rubrics are available with the Phase 2 guidelines for linked below.
Okay, raise your hand if you know where to find the rubric for your presentation. Okay, so every hand's up. We all know where to find that. Okay, pass that up if you will, Megan, and can you please read for step 2C?
I'm Ellie.
Ellie, sorry. You should be a Megan, red hair and freckles. That should be my Megan. Sorry, Megan. Okay.
Create a presentation using your chosen format related to your essay. Presentations should follow the guidelines listed with the corresponding rubric for each presentation format.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and read D for us as well.
On the class period prior to your assigned due date, provide your instructor a hard copy, printed copy, and, when appropriate, digital copy of your completed presentation.
Okay, we talked about this last time. If you're teaching on May 30th, then on May 28th, you're giving me a hard copy, and if you're doing a PowerPoint or a movie or a video, I need a digital copy of that. We want to make sure everything's working so that on the day of your presentation, we don't run into problems. So the finished thing is due to me the day before you're teaching. Okay, hold the 2 questions we have until we're done with this section, and then we'll go to those questions we have. So don't forget them. If you need to write them down, do so. Okay, and why don't you just finish for us? You're doing great. If you'll read step 2E.
Prepare a 30 to 40-minute lesson on your specialty area utilizing your prepared presentation to share with the class. Oral presentations must stay within the time frame.
There you go. Right there.
The time frame provided. The purpose of the presentation is fourfold. 1, to introduce the topic to the class. 2, share your research with your peers. Please note, as you are teaching, your peers will answer the corresponding questions from your specialty area in their workbooks. 3, show off your presentation. In some few cases, students may work with the instructor in advance to address alternate means or sharing the essay presentation.
Okay, so let me just briefly talk about what that last thing's saying. Shay? Some of you I know may be very uncomfortable standing up and presenting in front of your peers. If you are one of those people, we can prepare something like I'm doing right now, where you come in early, you teach your lecture digitally, like I'm doing right now, we record your voice digitally, like I'm doing right now, and then we turn it into a movie, if you're doing something like this. So if you are uncomfortable standing up in front of your peers, please come speak to me. No. Then come and talk with me, and we can come up with an alternate way for you to present your material. Okay, and last one, step 2F, if you'll finish that up for me, please.
Share your specialty area presentation with the class. Review the grading rubric for class presentations available in the conflict guidelines and rubrics portion of the workbook on page 30. Digital copies are available in this presentation list.
Okay, last thing for today. At the end of last class period, we came in here and we clicked on this right here, and each of you completed a contract. You should have received a copy of that contract already. As soon as you completed it, it was supposed to go to your email and my email if you submitted it. If you did not do that, then I'd resubmit it, okay? Or talk to me to make sure I got it. This contract is a binding contract. It has your name, my name. This is the email that your contract should have gone to when we finished it. We completed this contract. You identified the specialty area you would be teaching. You wrote your primary question out. We got that from the top of the page. The due date, we went to the class calendar to find that. The actual presentation date, we went to the class calendar to find that. You gave me 2 formats, the one that you're thinking you're really going to do, and then maybe an alternate presentation format. If you choose to change that, it has to be cleared with me at least 1 week. You have to have a formal written request, and it has to be cleared with me at least 1 week within your presentation. Then we also said, yes, I understand I have to do a specialty historical novel. You answered that question. Once you had completed that, we submitted our answers. That was done last time.
So this is Abby talking. I just had a question, like, sometimes you know how PowerPoints and files like that are too big to email?
Bring it into me in a, on a flash drive.
Could we, like, either do that or could we burn it to, like, a CD or something?
No problem.
Do you have a disk drive?
Yep, I do.
Okay,
Yes, you are. Okay, thank you, Audrey.
is it okay if we do two presentations, like when we're presenting, like if we
Yes.
have a PowerPoint and something else?
Yeah, you have a game and you have a PowerPoint. You have a music video and you have a PowerPoint. You have a reader's theater and that's fine.
Well, is it okay if we don't have a PowerPoint? We
Nope.
have, like,
You skip the PowerPoint. You have a reader's theater and you have a chart with your answers on it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Every day of our research, you will receive a feedback form. If you look in your Google Docs, you'll see it now, and it'll tell me how much you've gotten done each day. So if you look in your Google Docs, you'll see that now. That's how I'll be keeping track of it. So look in your Google Forms or in your Google Docs.